Hi, I'm Dave Sobel, host of the Business of Tech podcast. The more you're around, the less people know who you are, it seems. I was having a conversation with my co-hosts on the Killing It podcast, and we continue to be impressed and surprised at the number of new people we continually meet in our industry. What this also means is, those people have no idea who you are, and that often includes me. Thus, this is the video I'm putting together that tells you who I am, where I've come from, and why I'm doing what I do. If you'll indulge me, the story tells you why I work on the business of tech. When anyone asks my background, I start with my education, because I'm technical by background. I have a degree in computer science from William & Mary, and I would have anticipated being a programmer if you'd asked me in college what I would do with my career. I wrote a couple of startups in the late 90s and early aughts and started my own managed services provider in 2002 when one of those businesses went off a cliff. I ran that business for a decade. It grew from just myself to 15 staff at its largest and was a pure play services company with $1.4 million in recurring revenue contracts annually. The business was successful, nominated for Small Business Partner of the Year by Microsoft, winner of a number of different awards. I even acquired another MSP during this time. During the time, I was also very involved in the IT community because I wanted to continue to learn more and more. I launched HTG, now IT Nation Evolve, into Europe with the first UK peer group. I was a founding member of CompTIA's mobility community after serving terms on the managed services community. I was a frequent speaker at events, and I wrote a book on virtualization, leading me to become a Microsoft MVP. When I had the opportunity to sell my MSP, I took it and learned about being the seller rather than the acquirer. It was a great deal. I'm most proud of the retention the buyer had of the revenue post-transition. And while I will be delighted when I retire with the cash, I needed a job. Rather than go into consulting, I wanted to learn more about the IT channel. And so I took a job with Level Platforms, which was a remote monitoring and management provider. And I was responsible for the community management and success of our partners. That role was almost 2 years, and we successfully sold the business to AVG, and I knew it was time to move on to the next challenge. I moved to GFI, and I led community there, helping to accelerate the company as the partner base grew, and we focused on programs to drive provider growth. I led the community through the transition to LogicNow, and we sold the company to SolarWinds. Having never been through the process of IPO, I stayed for 3 more years, going through that life cycle and staying a year post-IPO. And then I knew it was time to do something different. So that's my perspective. So when I left SolarWinds, I considered where I could add the most value. Just like selling my MSP, I didn't want to just consult. I wanted to work on a problem that I felt needed a voice. As the industry has matured, so has the ecosystem around it that supports and consults with it. From a media perspective, I like to point out that there are 3 types that cover technology. First, the business press. The Wall Street Journal, CNBC, the business section of the Times or the Washington Post. They tend to love big tech. They love consumer tech. They love public companies. They love startups. But small technology services companies, not so much. How about the tech press? The Verge, Protocol, and the like. Same problem. Big, or gadgets, or consumers. But those small technology services companies? Nope. And finally, the channel press. The channel press has built a very successful model around integrated media. Print, web, events, online, all combined and measured based on delivering you, the provider, as a lead. That's the key metric. What ends up missing is an editorial voice that speaks for the providers, not to them. I wanted to address that problem. Who speaks truth to power as the power divide grows? With the massive budgets and the private equity money flowing into the space, The power divide has grown much further from when I started my MSP. In those days, many of the vendors were small businesses themselves. Now they're billion-dollar companies. It's important to understand how I get paid because we know that drives behavior. Business-wise, I wanted to address two problems. First, solution providers needed a media voice who was compensated based on their success, not based on the vendor's success. Thus, my approach with Patreon. That allows solution providers to support me directly. That makes your success my success. I love that alignment. Second, I wanted to address a core advertising problem for vendors. Having bought messaging on the vendor side, there are a surprisingly small number of options. You can generate your own content, try and gear up the promotion machine, knowing you'll be easily drowned out by the noise of every other vendor. You can try and advertise with the other media companies, all of whom charge you for their entire event industrial complex as integrated media firms. And even the smaller of them require a large annual commitment. So I knew I could be lightweight, an order of magnitude cheaper, and offer the same monthly recurring value to deliver simple messages to the right audience. So I sell ads. Thus, what I produce. The daily 5-minute podcast is designed to bring you some stories that I think are important for a services provider because they are something you need to know about or take action on. I include why do we care so you know what I'm thinking about the selection. I made 2 vows to myself when I started this endeavor. First, I would never do another MSP pricing panel ever again. This is such covered ground, and there are even books on the topic. I can't add any more value here, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Second, I would not have any conversations with a vendor product marketing manager about the value that MSPs will bring. I just don't need to do any veiled content as embedded advertisement content. If you need that, go find any of the talking head interview pieces because I'm not interested. You may notice I don't sell any speaking slots to vendors in my shows. That's not in my offering. If I ask someone to be on the show, it's because I'm interested in what they may say, not because they paid to be there. I interview people I want to talk about stories I want to talk about, not what they paid to promote. You're also smart enough to realize that yes, I sell ads. So having your attention matters. My goal is to honor that by not cheapening the relationship. I'm not paid to hide a pitch in content marketing. An ad is an ad. It sounds different. Wouldn't you rather hear a 30-second value offer than a 45-minute webinar that hides the 30 seconds? Yeah, me too. Each bit of coverage I do, I think about one question. What will those providers who listen to my show each day get value from that day they can take to their business? So that's my story. That's why I do the commentary I do and how I get paid. Because we know that payment drives results. And I appreciate your attention, both for this video and in general. Thanks for listening. If you like the content, hit the like button. And please subscribe to the channel with the red button below. It really does help, and it's very much appreciated. Have a question for me? Ask in the comments. I read them all, and the purpose is discussion. If you like this kind of content, you can get 5 minutes of news and analysis every day on the Business of Tech podcast, available on all podcatching platforms. To make it easy, visit businessof.tech and click the blue subscribe button to get your favorite platform. You can also get all my stories right there on the website online at businessof.tech, where I post the written versions. And you can get a daily digest delivered of all the news stories, all available for my Patreons. You can sign up to support the content directly, right with the Patreon buttons, and contribute what you want. I call it Give What You Want. Get access to content early, and you can contribute questions there too. Thanks for listening.